Here we go. Yes, that's it. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Good to be here. We're mixing it up a little bit today. We got a ton of shit to get to. It's a weird day, right? Like, I mean, when you're kind of a public event show, like when you're just kind of keeping track of shit and you're trying to entertain people and you're trying to bring people some news or some information you can use for the day, try to have a couple of laughs. It's a hodgepodge, if you will. It's a potluck of content, so to speak, when you do something like this daily. We're not like one of those news serials where we're like, next week we'll get into the nitty gritty. No, fuck that. We're just having some fun today, and I brought my friends with me. Please welcome back to the program Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. And of course, you know him from the Linz Report. Follow him on Twitter at Ryan Lindley. He's a stalwart young man and a big fan of mine, and I'm a big fan of his. Speaking of big fans, we're going to Ottawa today for a couple of reasons. One, of course, it's the center of the universe. It's our nation's capital. One of my other favorite people to podcast with, the host of the Let's Take This Outside podcast. Her name is Marianne Iveson, and she joins us today as well. What's up, good people? Nice to see you all, Marianne. Nice to see you. I can't tell if you're wearing a turtleneck or a sweater.
Oh,
vest.
it's like it's a sweater. It's from what's that? Very Roots. I was gonna say
Roots.
That beaver company. Yeah.
It's just like an $800 sweater. That's nice.
Yeah, no
Way to flash it on the
It's
on the
the
air.
only sweater that I own.
I didn't pay rent this month.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go.
I have to
I'm
move
warm.
out, and I have to move out next week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. A lot of people do that. Anyway, it's nice to see you and your sweater. Of course, Ryan Lindley comes to us from Binbrook, Ontario. Marianne is in Ottawa. We got some stories to talk about Ottawa today. We've got the EA hearings. Big old fat bombshells were dropped talking about whose fault the whole thing was. If you were looking to point fingers for who was at fault in Ottawa, we're going to help point a few fingers today because Mayor Watson and the Prime Minister are like, it's fucking Doug Ford's fault. And they hauled out all the receipts and the emails, so we'll get to that today. Who is it? Me? You? Who's making? But everybody's trying to avoid blame for this thing, so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. We'll talk some pumpkin spice in a minute too. We're also going to get to some dating. Because you know, yesterday we were talking about Linz. It was like one of my favorite breaks of all time. I think you watched, Marianne. You and I were conversing about it in a DM after how we were talking about so many angry young men that are running around. And I was talking to my therapist about this last week. I'm like, what's the correlation between angry young men and small cocks? And he's like, 100% correlation. It's the whole thing.
It's a big portion.
Sure,
Sorry, shouldn't say a big
talk about
portion.
that, I guess.
Yeah,
shouldn't say big because it's not big. It's a small, big portion.
Yeah, it's like a medium to smaller size portion of people that have medium to smaller size peckers.
Sure, we can talk about that.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that because there's another conservative dating app that just hit the market, and I want to get your opinion on it because the reviews are bad. And I want to talk about the dating apps that are out there too, because I was talking with someone the other day, and they're like, "It's impossible to find someone who's like-minded anymore." I'm like, "What did you do before the pandemic?" And they're like, well, there isn't a lot to consider before. It was just like, or do you look like a decent person and are you hot? Now you got to worry about how they voted. And I'm like, fuck, are you serious? Thank God I don't partake in that bullshit. So anyway, we'll talk about that and the uncovering of people. Can you actually like internet date anymore? Because everybody's so fucking angry. And a few other tidbits, including Joe Rogan falling for it yet again. Fuck, was that funny yesterday? I don't know if you saw the kitty litter bit. Oh my God, it's one of the greatest fucking. It's like, you know what? It's like my fear. It's one of my fears is when someone's like, here's a story. Have you heard of this story? And I'm like, no. And then I go on the air and I go, this story's real. And we act like it's real and I personalize it like it's real. And then I get caught doing all of that stuff. But I don't think Joe cares anymore. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And Marianne might have to hop out in a minute, right? Too.
I just have to sell my bike saddle for there's some guy from Kijiji's here. So can I?
Is he here now?
Yeah, he's just downstairs. Can I?
Yeah.
You guys keep
go
ahead. Should I shut off my camera? Or should I just leave it?
No, we'll take care of it.
Here. Yeah. You're selling.
Put 911. Put 911 in your phone before you go down there.
I'm selling this.
Your bike seat.
Yeah, we know. We're going to talk about that.
To a man, yeah.
A bike seat to a man online. That's really something else.
For biking?
I'm sure that's what he bought it for. She's like 450 pounds, doesn't own a bike.
He probably has like 4,000 bike seats at his house. He just buys them from women online all the time. He's like, how used is it?
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Is that a used bike seat? I only like the used ones.
I know you're selling the whole bike, but would you just part with the seat, do you think? Do you have any office chairs possibly kicking around the house that you might want to get rid of?
Hey, do you have any old patio cushions or anything that I could put my hand? How about a kitchen table? Cloth, preferably. Cloth kitchen table. Something you've sat on.
Anything
You've sat on.
Did your grandma give you a doily? A chair doily.
Yeah, we better wait for her to come back. She's selling her bike seat to a dude. It's like, fuck,
Yeah.
who buys bike seats? It was just like, hey, I just want a bike seat. And guaranteed he doesn't want it just to put on a bike. Because the women's bike seats are different than men's, are they not?
I would think so.
Yeah.
You would think that the structure would be a little different. That's
Men's and women's?
I was going to say that's the only reason why I don't bike, being the athlete that I am. Is the only seat I've ever found comfortable is those big old banana seats, and you just look ridiculous going down the road on something like that. Like that seat she just held up, I could actually feel my nuts
Squishing on
liquefying.
either side. Yeah,
liquefying it as I saw her. It was like this thick. Like, what do you do with that?
Yeah, men's and women's bicycle seats are fitted shorter and wider saddles because they have wider pelvis than men's saddles, and they're fitted with longer and narrower saddles. So the seats for women are very different than they are for men. So what the fuck is a guy buying a fucking... why is a guy... Well, let's get to it. We have some problems here because we were just doing some Google searching about bike seats. You just went and sold a bike seat to a dude. Yeah. Women's bike seats and men's bike seats are different.
Okay. No, yeah, that's true. But I also want to point out that this came on my original bike, which was unisex. So I immediately got that one because I got one fitted for my
area.
My area.
Your area.
My biking area.
For my area. Yeah, I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, your guts.
Your bike seat area. Yeah. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah. That's what I call it too. When someone kicks me in the balls, I'm like, I got kit in the bike seat area.
Right in the bike seat area.
So actually, it's more like right under. It's like the pelvic, like the pubic bone, the pelvis.
So the
thing,
gooch, right?
It's got so it's not about like padding. It's more about like the way it fits in your area,
like in the taint, like in the kazif.
In the taint,
kind of
like I'm touching it, but you can't see. But it's like
it's a new show.
I can think about it. Hello.
Okay. So it's right underneath.
Yeah, we know we've said it like 40 times already. The gooch. Bike seats are not good for the ass or the balls.
We're also getting
the
candy store.
Feet. Yeah.
And there's actually
candy store
or the Barbie pouch.
And if you did you know if you bike enough, the Barbie pouch. Did you know if you bike enough, you can actually get like not shaving, but you get like what happens to your skin when you use it too much? Calluses, yeah. You get like calluses on your I call it my underbutt. No, it's not the taint. It's not the taint. It's like right under the butt. It's like in that little crevice, like right in that little.
Yeah, that's where the taint is underneath the butt. It's right underneath the butthole. It's like butthole, taint, and then it goes nutsack, or in your case,
what you should be looking for in your bike seat is adjustable taint technology.
ATT, widely regarded as ATT, adjustable taint technology.
Either way, I just made $50 from a guy who wanted my bike seats.
Did he walk away going like this? That's the question, because he bought a chick's bike seat. Sorry, it's a fact.
It was washed for the.
Why was he on a motorized scooter? And 500 pounds.
Yeah, he rode up on a scooter. It was like a power wheelchair, and he just like.
Got 2 legs. He lost to diabetes. What's he need a bike seat for?
You're only like supremely diabetic, or you lost your license in a terrible DUI incident, and that's why you have to drive one of those bad boys. So, how old was this dude? How old was he?
He was probably like my age, or like a little
decent
bit older.
Shape? Good shape? No.
No,
not great shape. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you right now, he's not a cyclist.
He was from Gatineau.
Oh yeah, there it is.
What?
He was from Gatineau. He had an 819 area code, no license plate in the front. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's a big fat guy. Garrett
He wasn't fat, but he clearly we clearly ride different. He's like, so this is like he's like yeah, I broke mine. It looks like mine, so it's fine.
Anyway. He doesn't even know what he bought. He is not using that for a bike, Marianne. I'm telling you right now.
He said he broke his, so
I'm sure he did.
He ran out of smell. The last one ran out of stink. That's why he had to get a new one.
Sacre bleu, he said, and he snapped it, and he's like,
Tabernac SD. Tabernac.
Yeah.
The bicycle seat, it ran out.
It's the smell is gone.
Carless.
Yeah, and the way you described that perfectly for us, like the area that the body sits in, it's like every pheromone in the world collects in that one area. So, anyway,
to be honest, I have never smelled my bike seat. That's never been something that's come up.
Well, don't worry, somebody else will now for you. It's fine. I'm sure he'll give you a good review on Craigslist.
That's outside crying, smelling
my
it
new
right
My new OnlyFans. I just like collect women's old bike seats.
Yeah, that's the new thing. Bike seats.
It's not perverted. I'm just a hipster.
We had a teacher in the 10th grade. This is an orderable lie. He got fired. I'm not going to say the guy's name because I think his kid's actually a fairly well-known individual now. So I'm like, okay.
Oh shit.
He was a teacher, and I remember when one of this student who was in my class. Her name was Shelly. She got up. She was like super hot. She got up from her chair one day and he walked back over there and was like pretending to wipe it off and got down and was like pretending to look around and then took just this big whiff off of her chair. And I'm like, are you serious now?
No.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I'm asking because maybe this guy's a chair sniffer. Maybe he's one of those guys. You got to be worried about. That's why I was worried if you had like a women's versus men's bike seat, which is an actual thing. He said he bought like a woman's bike seat is what he did.
No, this guy bought a unisex one. He bought one that was just on.
Tell yourself whatever you need to.
It was only a woman's bike seat because I sat on it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're not assuming the bike seat's gender. We just know what that guy bought it for.
It's a gender fluid bike seat.
It is actually.
There was probably some gender fluid on it, and that's why you bought it.
Hey. Probably.
I didn't know I'd have to defend cycling today.
Okay,
That's not what I was in the mood for.
You don't at all. But Marianne is the host of the Let's Take This Outside podcast. It's Canada's one of its favorite outdoor podcasts. Some incredible reviews that I saw you posting on your own behalf the other day too. We don't do that, but I'm going to. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious.
We should do that.
I can't believe all these great reviews. I'm like, yeah, you can. I know why you're posting those. Well, we don't have those kinds of reviews.
You know why I posted them though? Do you know why I posted them? It's because they weren't from my friends. Okay, like the first few were from like my friends or like my mom, right? And then
my mom likes it.
So the first few reviews on Apple Podcasts were like, this is so great. It was from like my friend. And then I'm now getting reviews from people I don't know. You know?
Yeah, that feels nice, right?
That's nice.
That's really nice.
Like people are reviewing my podcast. Look. Yeah, that's why I did that.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you a couple things before we get started. First of all,
we are started. What?
Yeah, well, before we get started with like real content, this one, like I found this one interesting, and I came across this video this morning. This is a video of a guy on a hike, and he gets attacked by a bear, and I'm like, is he doing the right things here? Because you know what to do. You've been out when bears have tried to attack you, and your bike seats, right? So we've got. Let me watch this. Watch this video. Is this the proper technique when being attacked by a bear out for a nice hike on a Sunday afternoon? Yes or no?
No.
It's like a baby.
Also, I can't see anything, but I do know what you're talking about. I know exactly what video you're talking about.
This video. Yeah. Copyright 2022 bear attacks. I tried to give this guy a little credit, but I can't find out who the dude is. Just says he's copyrighted this bear attack, which is what you want to do after you get attacked by a bear is copyright the attack, right? You don't want to go.
Yeah, I found it interesting that he copyrighted it. Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever this guy is, good for you. Copyright attacks climber. But like, are you supposed to start swinging like crazy? Because what's the thing? Because this guy looks like he just snapped. Looks like he just had a fucking conniption. But I probably would have done the same thing.
I want to point out that I am not a wildlife expert, by the way. So this is my own knowledge and my own experience with bears. So I've seen a lot of bears. I've spent a lot of time outside. I've seen a lot of bears. The scariest encounter I've had with a bear is I was on a trail here in Gatineau Park. I was with a girlfriend and we were going down the trail and there was a bear and we kind of scared each other. So much so that I was like, oh, right. Like we both, and the bear stood up on its hind legs. It was leaning. Ooh, that?
One more time.
And then I pissed myself. And
is that a technique?
And then you pee yourself, and then the bear just goes away.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like you got a bike seat. Maybe?
Yeah. Smells like a bike.
Something smells great. No. So you encounter this bear, and where is
the bear in Gatineau Park? So the bear stands up. It's on the trail, and it's leaning against a tree on it with its paw. It's at least 6 feet tall, and like your heart is just like right. And luckily, something clicked in, and I knew what to do. And what I did was I said, okay, we see you. You talk really gently to it. He was clearly surprised like we were. We backed away slowly and we were talking like this. My heart, I can't describe how much adrenaline you have in that moment, right? When a bear is staring you in the eyes, standing up on its hind legs, right? And then it went on its merry way and we never saw it again. And it was a terrifying 30 minutes back down.
This is Gatineau Park?
Gatineau Park.
How do you know? How do you know he was? How do you know it wasn't a francophone bear? You were speaking to him in English. Maybe you didn't know what you were talking about.
It's true.
He's like,
totally.
fuck these guys. I can't even speak my language.
Yeah.
Not gonna bother. Yeah, it's a French bear.
But this guy, but this guy in this video, at that point, you just fight back. There's nothing else you can do. Most black bears are actually scaredy cats. Or scaredy bears, right? Most of them are scared. They don't want to interact with you. So clearly this bear was threatened in some way. Maybe its cubs were around. Maybe, I don't know why it attacked this man.
Because he did this man. He wanted the snack.
But he did
eat a hiker.
No, he did not want to eat it. He did not want to eat him. But
well, why do they attack people if they don't if they don't want to eat them?
If he feels threatened, if the bear feels threatened in his environment, if the cubs are around, there's like several reasons that a bear would attack. I don't know about wanting to eat a human. I think it's more just self-defense. But yeah, I just think that he did exactly what I think. You just react, right? You're making a lot of noise. You're kicking it. You're hitting it.
Complete lunatic. He fucking snapped. Like he did what everybody else would have done. Shit his pants and scream like a 3-year-old. That's exactly what he did.
He did exactly what I think he should have done. I don't think there was no other option because that bear was aggressive. There was no other option for him. Right?
Look at this fucking thing come down the top of this. Like, this is what's incredible about it is if you watch it, you can see him coming. Like, this guy's climbing up the side of like a mini hill / mountain, bunch of rocks. And this bear sees him coming from the top, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking eat you. And he comes right over top. And this guy, like some kind of Avenger or Neo from the Matrix, is like, moves out of the way, pushes the bear down 20 yards, and the bear goes flying into. But the bear's not done because he's fucking starving. He's like, that is a big blueberry, and he keeps going for it. Like, that's what I love about this. Look at this guy. He's like, boom, moves to the side. Bear falls down. He's like, bear's like, fuck, that was a tasty snack. I'm gonna go get it. But this guy keeps punching the bear. And the bear's like, fuck you, I want some more. And he gives him the foot of his shoe, and he hits him. But then the bear's like, no, fuck that, I want some more. That tasted like good, I think. I'm going to see. And the guy's like literally still losing it. By the time he's like trying to figure out a way up, he's like, fuck, this guy's so loud and annoying, I'm out. And then he splits. But is this a sustained attack? Are you supposed to like keep screaming? Are you supposed to find your way out? Or was this just survival for this guy? Marianne?
This was survival. He was doing exactly what his inclination was to do, was attack, fight back, be loud, try to scare it off. It's exactly what I think anyone would have done, to be honest.
I thought the bear just asked him to wear a mask in a Costco.
Yeah, well,
that's what
are
it
you
looked like to me.
Yeah,
you asked him to wear a mask, and just an 18 mask.
What would have freaked me out is the fact that this bear is at the lower, is clearly on the trail or near the trail going down. So this guy had to still keep climbing up to get away from him, which freaks me out because clearly it looks like that is like a scrambly part of the mountain, and that looks scary. So what freaks me out is now this guy has to get back down, unless it was a loop. This guy had to get back down somehow, and his heart's probably beating out of his chest in this area to avoid this bear.
Would you not just be shitting your fucking pants the whole way back to base camp or whatever town? You'd be looking over your shoulder the whole time going, I'm going to die. This thing's going to eat me. Like, I would be stuck on the side of that rock for the next 3 weeks. Unless someone came with like a basket and a helicopter, I'd be like, forget it. I'm not moving.
Considering how aggressive this bear is, that's terrifying. That sucks a lot.
Yeah.
By himself. Yeah.
You know how you avoid this? You don't go outside. You just stay home, and this doesn't happen at all.
How you do that? No, it is actually technically how you do that. Is you don't go outside. That's to your point. But Marianne hosts a podcast called "Let's Take This Outside" about being in the outdoors on a great
fucking with bears,
grand scale. No, not fucking with bears. The guy didn't fuck with the bear. The bear wanted to fuck with him.
Because he was at the bear's house.
Yeah, he was in the bear's house. Stay out of the bear's house. Last question I have for you guys. I'm a pumpkin spice guy. You're a pumpkin spice gal. Ryan's stick in the mud. Doesn't like anything.
Ryan sucks.
Ryan sucks.
Ryan suck.
Okay, so I came across this Would you eat this? Yes or no? Oscar Mayer pumpkin spice bologna. Would you eat this? Made with chicken and pork, pumpkin and cinnamon. Yes or no? Would you eat pumpkin spice bologna before we get started? Yes or no?
No. Nope.
I don't even have to ask Linz because he's the latest. He's a food.
Not
critic.
even. I'm ignoring you.
Did they make this? I had to look into whether
Would
or
you
not
eat
this was
it?
fucking real.
Would you eat it?
Yeah, I'd give it a go. No.
I would try it. Okay, sorry. I would try it out of curiosity.
That I would do.
But out of
I wouldn't go.
Go
ahead.
I'm looking at the package. Yeah. I would try it, but I don't. Made with chicken and pork. Okay, pumpkin and cinnamon. Like I get kind of like the mix of it, like the spice of it. But there's no way this is good. Nope.
You see, in a sandwich with the right spread, I don't think it really matters. I mean, it's congealed meat slices, right? Like it's fucking like every other meat slice we eat. It's just who fucking knows what's in it. It's just all processed and put in a blender, and then they squeeze it into slices, and they make this thing, and they send it to the grocery stores, and they dude, it's the same thing. It's
hot dog pancakes.
It's hot dog.
I think
pancakes.
a little mustard would cover that taste up, right?
Yeah. But so what? So you're just out there you're buying things to cover up the taste? What? Like, so just don't fucking buy it. Maybe they'll stop doing this.
Well, hold it, dude. Do you put mayo and mustard on a sandwich? Yes.
Sometimes
you don't want to taste just the lettuce, the meat, and the bread. It's dry. You want it.
Yeah, you want something that. Yeah, you don't want dry bread.
Yeah,
but you're not doing it for the.
Me about spreads.
Yeah, but the intent isn't to cover up the flavor of the meat. That's what you're saying here. Slather it in mustard, and you won't even taste it. No, don't fucking eat it.
It's an accoutrement. It's an accompanying thing, right?
Don't church it up, fun boy, because this is not a territory that you want to travel down with me when you're talking about accoutrements of pumpkin spice bologna.
Did you guys see the
pumpkin spice bologna is what you are.
Yeah, I know. I am. What's that, Ryan?
Did you see that? I think it was Glad did a line of pumpkin spice garbage bags. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
and they sold out online. Yeah.
What do you mean? Like when you open it up, it smells like pumpkin spice?
You know, sometimes garbage bags have they pre-program not pre-program. They put like a scent into them.
Yeah.
And then it smells like rainforest, or it smells like peppermint or whatever. They did one with pumpkin spice. So it would cover the smell of the garbage.
Smell like so the garbage would smell like more garbage. It's great.
And they sold out, by the way. Okay.
Of course they did, because it's a fad.
Okay, let's get started, everyone.
All right, let's get started. Sorry, just a quick.
You want to start the show?
Spice question. I would like to start the show. So, Mary Ann's in Ottawa. We've got the Emergency Act hearing today. We had a couple of big bombshells. If you remember the Flu Trucks Clan, or as some idiots like to call it, the Freedom Convoy, the hearings are going on today to judge whether or not it was necessary for the Prime Minister to trigger the fuck out of the Emergencies Act, which is a state of emergency, which gave him full course to be able to get rid of all the fucking Lugans, clean up the city of Ottawa, and let people get back to their lives. Now, Mary Ann, you were one of those people. We've had you on the show many times. You had to move out of your house, which is right there. That's where you are right now, right downtown. It's in the area. It's in the zone, so to speak. And you've lived it. You haven't watched much of this, though, have you? Like, you haven't really kind of paid attention to much of the EA hearing stuff. Like, you pop in and out.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched the live version. I've been watching clips. I've been seeing my friends who are reporters, and are you guys posting videos of it or updates of it. And there hasn't been a point yet where I read something. I'm like, I'm not surprised. Mm-hmm. Like every time like a bombshell comes out, every time it's like there was like collusion or like corruption, or this person didn't do their fucking job. Surprise! Like,
yeah,
it's true.
So this, okay, imposter syndrome, where you go into a new job and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try my best. And you feel like everyone around you knows what they're doing. Like, I feel like these people should have had imposter syndrome. Like, I feel like that they deserve to have it, because I feel like so many people didn't do their job. So many people failed the people of Ottawa, failed thousands of people who were suffering for weeks. Mm-hmm. And then it was almost like not a lot was done until, billions of dollars was at stake at the borders, right, in Windsor and out west, right? So that's what it kind of felt like, was to see them clamp down so hard on the borders. And then, of course, which is completely understandable, like trade is very, very important. But for people, especially like Paul, who are, Blue Jacket guy, who are right there, like right in the middle of it, and like can't sleep, can't function, and Yeah, people straight up suffering. So I haven't been watching a lot of it because it's honestly just not good for my mental health. It is not good. It's not good for
What
me
do you
to
mean? Like you can't watch the hearings because it takes you back to that time when you were standing there trying to make a tea and all you heard was a train horn for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that kind of thing?
That or the fact that people are like, it didn't happen. And like, so there's so much gaslighting going on, right? There's they're all like, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Like these freedom lawyers. So that part of it I can't really handle is for people to be like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, like we didn't need the Emergencies Act. Nothing was getting done. Nothing was getting done. So if you didn't ask me, but yes, the Emergencies Act needed to happen because police failed us miserably up until this point. And I'm a little spicy today. So
yeah, I love that you're spicy about it because I think it's very important to talk about it, right? Like, we're talking about people whose lives were ruined, people who are in therapy, people who have trigger issues now every time they hear a horn or they smell gasoline, people who whose lives were ruined, people who had to move, politicians, regular people that work for the government, people who didn't work for the government, billions in lost trade, millions and hundreds of millions in lost business opportunities for downtown businesses. I mean, this was an Emergencies Act special. It had to happen. We all know that. And we all know what you're talking about because we watched you go through it. I mean, I was on the phone with you the day after it happened and you were shaking. You were like legitimately vibrating. You got your toque on, you were all packed and you were getting ready to leave and you just jumped on a podcast. And I haven't seen someone beside themselves like that in a long fucking time. And what with day 2 maybe of just constant barrage of the senses, whether it was gas, whether it was fucking noise, whatever it was like I saw that in you. And you weren't the only one. There were tens of thousands of people like you. Business wasn't getting done. You had fucking big rigs parked in the middle of Bank Street in Wellington and you couldn't fucking go anywhere. You had bonfires. We've been over the whole thing. But the process of this act has been fascinating because you got to have like an inquiry after you trigger this act. So this inquiry has been really neat. When I say neat, I mean fucking hilarious. And I'll tell you why. Because the premier of this province, Doug Ford, as we all know, last week we talked about it. We talked about it this week. Karima couldn't believe it. Mubin Sheikh couldn't believe it. He was a counterterrorism expert. That Doug Ford and the Ontario government were not going to be part of the Emergencies Act hearing. Now, if you remember yesterday, and we played this yesterday, Linz, this was Doug Ford talking about standing shoulder to shoulder with Justin Trudeau in triggering the Emergencies Act. Let's watch this together real quick.
Think back to February. Do you think that the federal government was justified in using the Emergencies Act to lift the occupation of downtown Ottawa?
Well, we have some of the top officials with the OPP testifying, and yes, I stood shoulder to shoulder with the Prime Minister. These folks were camping out, everything from whirlpools, disrupting downtown, disrupting the lives of the people of Ottawa. We've worked collaboratively with the mayor and the Prime Minister over at the borders. They were holding up $1 billion of trade every single day, getting across our borders. We were getting phone calls from governors. It's unacceptable. Myself and I know the Prime Minister believe in free speech. And if you want to protest. If you want to come down to Queen's Park and do cartwheels. But if you disrupt the lives of the people of Ottawa every single day, disrupt the lives, the economic flow across our borders, I have zero tolerance for it. Thank you.
Never thought I'd see a Rebel News logo.
Yeah.
On this show.
Well, because they're using it for different reasons, right? They're using it to paint everybody as dumb and to tell everybody it wasn't that big of a deal. So that's why they're like they're flooding Twitter. They're flooding Facebook. I have never seen misinformation and disinformation come out this fast from the same fucking losers like that sweaty cock Andrew Lawton, that prick Ezra Levent, those douchebags at the National Post, that dickhead Lori Goldstein, and anybody associated with Post Media. They're trying to paint this like it was a fucking picnic, and it wasn't. And you know that, and I know that, and everybody else knows that. Now, what we just watched there was fascinating. It was Doug Ford saying, there are people with whirlpools. It had to end. That's not acceptable. I'm shoulder to shoulder. Was he? Apparently not. Now, this kind of came out today, and this is through Mubin Sheikh. As per notes below, the province was giving false information in terms of numbers of OPP officers sent to Ottawa. We don't know where this number is coming from, not even the OPP. What is that in reference to, you ask? Great question. What came out today was fucking unbelievable. Never seen anything like it in my life. And I want to get to part of it. This is Mayor Watson talking to the Prime Minister. So this is their private email exchange, which has just come out. Jim Watson, in reference to the Prime Minister about trying to get this thing resolved, says one thing was when he said, quote, and he's talking about Doug Ford. This is the Premier of the province. This is over a week into this thing. Said this is not a police solution, but it is a police solution. I think he's a bit frustrated. Everything is coming down on him, but that doesn't make sense. This is a police matter. I've been trying my very best to back him up every day. As you know, PM, now is not the time to change courses, but we have to do our best to support him. Speaking of Doug Ford, I'm going to ask after this call whether the federal government will live up to its commitment. We need boots on the ground very shortly. It's not dying down. It took over Metcalfe Street and blocked all of it. This is the Prime Minister. Listen, yes, you can say, yes, the federal government will be there with more resource. But again, this is the thing that frustrates me, and everyone is conflated. Doug Ford has been hiding from his responsibility for political reasons, as you highlighted, and important that we don't let them get away from that and intend to support you on that. Not done there. Mubin went on to outline a couple of other issues, more notes on public safety concerns, radicalized individuals blocking hospital routes, how occupiers were calling on people to come and outnumber the police, laying more foundation of the emergency nature of the situation. Police were being swarmed. There was concern sending unarmed bylaw officers into angry, unruly mob situations, showed that the city couldn't deal with it by themselves, goes to emergency nature of the situation, expensive undertaking to fly RCMP and other people into Ottawa. That was part of the reason why Doug Ford didn't want to do this, which I found fascinating. And this was cool. The province was very reluctant to be at the table with other levels of government. Doug Ford not only refused to take part in any meeting of all three levels of government when it came to getting rid of this convoy or when it came to addressing the needs of Ottawa citizens, saying, and I quote, it's worthless. There's no point. A meeting with you guys about this is a waste of time. And according to Mubin, he said this should have been resolved in week 1, not week 3. The province declared a state of emergency February 11th, only after Doug Ford's friends and all their trade didn't get across the border to Ryan's Point last week. And the province was worried about being visible and then asked what was the province doing. The province did absolutely nothing. And according to Jim Watson, and according to the Prime Minister, and according to all three levels of government, with the exception of his, who is not partaking in this, Doug Ford was the only person that could have dealt with this. Doug Ford was the only person that could have dealt with this. It was up to him, and he refused to even meet to talk about helping you out. Refused. The only time he got into action is when the Magna truck full of car parts, as Ryan pointed out yesterday, and all the groceries and drugs for Galen Weston Jr.'s grocery store outlets were all backed up at the border, and we started having real supply chain issues because these guys blocked international borders. That was the only time Doug said, you know what, that's enough. And he not only didn't go to Ottawa, he didn't talk about Ottawa, he didn't go up there to meet with the people of Ottawa, he didn't get on the phone with the people of Ottawa. And to that point, when he was asked to provide a policing solution, according to the mayor of Ottawa, according to new testimony today at this hearing, this is fucking wild. He instructed Sylvia Jones, who was then the Auditor General of Ontario, this is great, to lie to Jim Watson and the people of Ottawa and say, there are 1,500 OPP officers on the ground, and we've sent them or we're sending them. Not only was that not true, not only was it a lie, there were only 55 police officers in Ottawa.
I counted all of them on my hand.
I'm sure you did.
I was like, 1,
2, 55.
3.
So this now is taking on a different life. And the life that this is taking on is twofold. Negligence of Ottawa Police Service, of which there were some Doug Ford friends on the board at the time. Okay, let's keep that in mind as a result of those relationships. Doug Ford not only didn't want to meet, refused to meet, said it was a waste of time to help out the people in Ottawa. Waste of time. You're a waste of time to him, as is anybody who was damaged by this.
Anybody in Ottawa.
Waste of time. You guys are a waste of fucking time. And then, so there's that part of this. And then here's the other part. He lied to the people looking for policing solutions to help the people of Ottawa, saying there's 1,500 cops there, and then turned around and went, there's no one there. We got nobody. We're not even helping. I'm not even meeting with them. Don't care.
Didn't he
Don't
send some?
care.
Who was it he sent? In
Dean
his
French.
Dean French. I'll just send Dean French. He'll just fuck everything up anyway. So let's send him. And I remember now that, and it's funny, it's one of those things because so many things happened when this all happened, right? And you forget some things. And then this inquiry is actually bringing up a few points that I'd forgotten. And I'd forgotten that back then, the minister or the Solicitor General is now the Health Minister, Sylvia Jones. She said, she made a comment about the 1,500 number. And somebody had called her on it saying that's absolutely not true. And she did some weird Convoy conservative math to say, well, it's, 200 officers per shift and then 150 per day. And then there's 3 here and then there's 8 here. And it left you like dizzy when she was done talking. It's like, that was the most political answer that you could have given. I remember that now that, and it was one of those, it was such a stupid comment you just forgot about. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever, liar. And sure enough, here it is now on the record what happened. And it was a lie. The whole thing was a fucking lie. It's great. Go ahead.
I remember, and
It's
correct
hard
me if
to
I'm wrong.
believe, by the way. Like, this is like, I want to hear from you, Marianne, right away. But just to back up what Ryan's saying, before you get into it, just to set the table, this is the Premier of the province of Ontario who willingly did not help out the people of Ottawa and said it was a waste of time.
Yep.
And he forced this issue while everybody was begging him for police help. He not only lied about the police that were there, he didn't bother to help until his interests were being harmed, until his personal friendships, donors' interests were being harmed in a supply chain issue with the border. So anyway, continue. How do you feel about that?
What? Actually, one of the memories I remember the most from the convoy. Please correct me on this. I don't remember. A lot of it's foggy. I don't know. I was a little stressed for a few weeks, so some of it is a little bit foggy. But didn't he declare a state of emergency?
Yeah.
For the province,
provincial,
at some point,
provincial one that he only really kind of enforced for the borders.
For the borders, right? Yeah. I remember that very specifically. This is one of my strongest memories. Because it had been going on for a couple of weeks at that point, I think. And I remember I took a walk and I was on one of the bridges on overlooking Parliament Hill, and I had my headphones in. I was listening to the press conference of him declaring the state of emergency. I know that doesn't really answer your question, but that is one of my most memorable because I remember feeling desperate. I remember feeling like, why isn't anyone doing anything? And I remember even knowing at that time that I remember having that memory of are they only doing this because of the borders? Because of again, which is fine. Someone is just doing, but I remember actually feeling relieved because I'm like, they're actually going to do something. They're actually going to, but I remember the desperation and the anxiety and the feeling completely helpless. That is what I remember the most. Sorry to.
So I'm glad you brought it up. So when you hear that now, you live in that desperation, you're living in that PTSD, the anxiety. You're not at home. You want to go home, but you can't. It's unsafe. You and keep in mind, I don't want to share any medical history, but you have a history of concussions. You've got, other things. Well, you do.
I record audio for a living. But I was gone for quite a few days in there. But I did come back because I'm like, I don't want these assholes. I want to be home. That's my home. I want to be home. Yeah. But and I record audio. Yeah, I don't want to be the victim in this at all because there's so many people who
but what I'm saying is
often I was. But
yes, there are. Sorry. There are people who couldn't get food. There were people who couldn't leave their house. There were people who got accosted in wheelchairs. All that other shit. And that's the sensational part of this. But what everybody else out there is trying to do, the National Post, Ezra Levent, that fucking prick, Andrew Lawton, that sweaty mess over to everybody, every single person who's an anti-vaxxer, who's a convoy supporter, every single person who's got a religiously right RNWJ, right-wing RWNJ, right-wing nut job perspective is flooding the zone with stories like yours doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to establish, if it's you and tens of thousands of people like you, it's not just the fact that you heard some noise and couldn't be around it. It's that it affected your life. It affected your living. You had pre-existing issues that you were trying to deal with going through it. And Doug didn't care. He wanted this to keep going. He wouldn't address, he wouldn't meet with anybody. He refused to meet with anybody, municipally or federally, in a province that was being visited upon by people who had literally invaded Ottawa, shut down borders, stopped cross-border trade, used kids as fucking human shields. So, like, let's put it all on the table and go, okay, well, what are we dealing with here? And is that not the most supreme dereliction of duty to serve that you swore an oath to take? Like, is that not the most supreme dereliction of duty? Dereliction, Doug? Like, fuck Ottawa. That's all I got out of that. Dude, when he was campaigning, when 18% or 16% of us decided to give him another shot, which is fucking unbelievable to me, he went to Ottawa to campaign. He got flown in, got off the plane, got in a private car, went to the Toronto Sun building, the National Post building, which is the Ottawa Sun building, went on the roof. And he did a press conference, and then he left out the back door, got in his fucking car, got on his plane, and flew back to Toronto/Muskoka.
He didn't come here. I don't think he came here, right? He didn't come.
No,
here
he did. Not during the convoy. This was during the campaign.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew that, but I just wanted to double check. I'm like, I don't think he came here.
No,
like, I do not want to downplay the points that you were making for Doug Ford at all. But all I remember, and like, you know, I'm sure, I don't know what Paul's feelings are or other people's feelings are on it, but I just remember, like, when you see it with your own eyes, when you see the police doing nothing with your own eyes, like, that is what's consuming, is like what's right in front of you, right?
It's a mind fuck. Mind fuck.
It is, and I also remember thinking that everyone's responsible. At that point, all I remember was every level of government, local, federal, provincial. At that point, I remember everyone was failing people of Ottawa. That is what I remember the most. But again, when you see it and when you see the police not doing their jobs and then ticketing people
for a month,
but bylaw was still ticketing people on my street
that week.
They were still ticketing people.
So you could set up a fucking bonfire and roast a pig in the middle of Bank Street, but God forbid you park on the wrong side of the street.
I wrote an article about it, and I actually had tons of examples from citizens of Ottawa saying, "Well, at least they're not busy enough to not write me a parking ticket because I can't get on my street and have to park illegally, so I go home."
Wasn't it? Sorry, Ryan.
No, go ahead.
But wasn't it very early in the inquiry that they had shown that bylaw was not touching it? Like, bylaw was not touching any of those vehicles. They were like, or they were, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember bylaw being like, "Ooh, no, like, everyone else is fair game." And so it was a lot of unfairness. It was a lot of, again, I don't want to downplay your feelings about Doug and like what happened and how he treated people and said he didn't care. But again, when it's right in front of your eyes and you're seeing the injustice happen right in front of you, that is what's consuming. Right?
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is his inaction just fanned the flames. I mean, his inaction was like basically 100%. Him telling everybody, fucking go for broke, visit that shit on the people there. I don't give a fuck. It's Toronto versus everybody. I hate Justin Trudeau. I mean, it was all there. It's all there. We're seeing it. But now we're actually seeing the behind the scenes shit where they're like, Doug refused to meet with us every time. Lied about how many cops he sent. Not only that, and to your point, this is just one of the fucking really gross narratives coming out of this, right? The other one is the inaction of Ottawa Police Service. And what we find out yesterday,
we knew that already.
So you've got real problems with two different issues, right? And you're watching them all, like all the convoy losers go, yeah, it's the Ottawa Police's fault. And then I go back to this. It's like, so are you admitting that you fucking shouldn't have been there then? And they're like, no, I'm not saying that at all. But it's someone's fault. And the way it looks right now is that if it weren't for Doug Ford deciding he's not interested, this is fun to watch on television from the cottage at night, visiting this shit on his political opponent. That's one thing. That's one area. But the other area that this needed to be void of, and the other thing that needed to happen was Ottawa Police Service had to have fucking major issues too, right? Which they did.
That is why this happened. I will blame.
Absolutely.
I will blame Ottawa Police Service for this.
Police chiefs don't normally resign when they're in the right. Just saying, everybody. People just don't quit their jobs when they're doing the right thing. And
didn't they have the information? Didn't they have the information that this was coming?
Up to a month prior, including.
They were booking hotel rooms. I'm sorry, Ryan. Keep it like they were booking hotel rooms.
You want to show them on?
What was happening? Right? Pardon?
Yeah.
So do you know what show I'm on? I'm used to
We
this.
interrupt him all the time. Yeah, he's used to it now. Yeah, you're good.
They were booking the hotel rooms, and they were so they could have. So you guys wouldn't know this, but on Wellington Street, right in front of Parliament Hill, there are cement barriers there now. Right, there are cement barriers that would have taken, I don't know, a day to do, and I don't think any of this would have happened.
Yeah,
put a couple cement barriers up, none of this would have happened. It
Right.
would have like. A
They
couple
knew that.
cement barriers would have prevented this.
They actually there's recorded meetings with the organizers of the convoy where they talked about logistics of where to put things, what we're going to do, where we're going to park you, where you're going to be. And at no point in there did they show any sort of defensive tactics, which are very well known, especially to Ottawa when it comes to dealing with public events. Like they're the best in the country at dealing with public events and how to corral people, how to move cars, how to get things like the way they should be. They've been doing it for decades. They willfully ignored it this time and let it do the thing, because this was a trickle down. And we talked about this before. The interim leader, Candace Bergen, at the time said, make this Trudeau's fault or problem. Doug said, yes, ma'am. Where's Doug Ford? Yeah, where's Doug Ford during federal elections, by the way? He's told to go hide in his closet, and he goes away. Remember, he was on his big fast food fat fuck tour up north, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared for 3 weeks. You're like, I saw Doug Ford every day filling his face with funnel cakes and fish and chips. And then all of a sudden he disappeared for 3 weeks. Why? Because there was a federal election, and the Fed said, Doug, shut the camera off, go home, and wait. And he's like, okay. This time they said, there's a convoy coming to Ottawa. It's going to Justin Trudeau's doorstep. Doug, shut up. Go home. Don't say a word. Okay.
No yeah.
And here we are. So, and if you think that his tentacles don't go into municipal politics, to politicians, to police service board members, to whoever else it happens to be a card-carrying member of the Conservative Party, that's where it all came down. It all trickled down, and now they're doubling down. Even as and that's why we're seeing that the barrage of bullshit online and the just like the piling on of the
it's nonstop. It's like fucking anybody that wants to drive any narrative about anything that has something to do with fucking this not being a big deal, which it is, because we're having a fucking hearing about it that's lasting 6 weeks long, and it's the biggest in the country's history. So if you see the National Post today going, not a big deal, everybody overreacted, fuck you. Yeah. And this young lady in front of us can say that too. Go fuck yourself, because you didn't live it. And if you did and you liked it, that means you're an asshole who likes to watch people get hurt and you don't care. That's what that is. Sorry, Marianne, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you for putting accurate words in my mouth, by the way, too.
You're welcome.
But I wanted to actually ask your opinion a little bit on this, or maybe there's already been information that came out about it. But how much of it was straight up willful? Like, how much of it was like, this won't be that bad. That many people aren't coming. It's not a big deal. Like, how many people? What percentage do you think downplayed it?
And how much of it was like a police force that said, "Fuck these people with their thin blue line shit. Fuck these people with
that,"
their
or yeah. I want to know how much. Like,
fuck Trudeau and his vaccine.
I don't want to start any kind of lies or anything. But what percentage do you guys
100.
think?
100. This was, you can't get this far down the fucking shit mess without major collusion. Yeah. Like, a lot of people had to know what was going on here, and a lot of people had to want this to happen. And there were
I don't think Peter Slawley, like, I don't think Peter was like, I don't know if he was a part of that. I think he was like, obviously he screwed up a lot, but like, I genuinely believe that he didn't want that to happen.
We're going to hear from him in this hearing, I think, if not later this week, maybe early next. This was Jim Watson today. So if you don't believe me, like, I just read you some tweets. This is an actual video from the hearing where the mayor of Ottawa was like, we asked Doug Ford for help. He fucking was nowhere to be found. Watch this.
Disappointment that the province didn't want to take part in the tripartite. And when I had that conversation with Minister Jones and the Premier on that phone call, I think it was a phone call or a Zoom, I can't recall, to be honest. The Premier was adamant that he did not feel it would be useful to have 3 levels of politicians sitting around a table.
And did he say why he didn't think that was going to be, that wasn't necessary or helpful?
Well, I think he felt it would be a waste of time. When he said that, I was quite frustrated with him. He said, look at what's it going to accomplish? A bunch of people sitting around a table talking and making decisions. And I said, well, that sounds like a cabinet meeting. And he didn't like that. But at the end of the day, it was his call. If he wasn't going to go to force his minister to go to the meeting or not go to the meeting, he just said they're not going to be part of it.
Yeah. So now that is about as damning as it gets until you watch Jim Watson, mayor of Ottawa, for another 22 days, I think, be cross-examined by Freedom Corps lawyer Brendan Miller, who, in my estimation, I'm pretty sure is the worst lawyer in this country's history.
No Clarence Darrow.
So for some of you, you might just be learning about this. The mayor of the city can't just go, hi, OPP, hi, York Region Police, hi, Windsor Police Services, hi, Toronto Police, send me 2,000 of your finest. No, not allowed. It's illegal.
Yeah.
The law is against it for a reason. Politicians can't just call a different police service and go, come over here and do my bidding. That's Doug Ford's job. Every police force in this province is under his jurisdiction. He is Ontario's top cop. The only person that has the ability to say, go here and do that, you, this force effort, is Doug Ford, who said
Sylvia
it was
Jones
a waste of time.
Solicitor General.
He's like, Sylvia Jones, go fucking lie your dick off, Sylvia. I'm pretty sure she has one too, by the way. Anyway, because it is a
Allegedly.
law that you can't do that. The Freedom Convoy's shitty lawyer, Brendan Miller, just embarrassed the fuck out of himself for a good minute and a half here. Let's all watch it together because I didn't know whether to watch this or masturbate when I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, these guys are so fucking stupid. It's unbelievable. Watch this.
Right, and the Premier told you that you didn't join the tripartite meetings because it was pointless.
He felt it was a waste of time.
Right, and it was.
How do you know that?
Because they were looking for officers, and they couldn't order officers.
No, that's, I don't think you fully understand the situation, that I can't pick up the phone and start barking orders at a commissioner of any police service, whether it's the OPP or the RCMP. There's a protocol in place, and that protocol is to have politician to politician. And the RCMP and the minister said the same thing. He can't direct Commissioner Leckie, but he can certainly pass along our request. And she made the decision, and we thank her and the commissioner because at the end of the day, they did provide the resources that ended up cleaning up this terrible situation our residents found themselves in.
Right, and this protocol that you've been talking about and mentioned, is it in writing?
Well, it's the law that politicians are not allowed to direct police services. It's very...
Hold it.
Look at his face.
Hold it. Look at this. This guy's like, is this in writing? Guy's like, well, it's the law, you fuck. Like, of course.
Lionel Hutz over there doesn't know that it's the law. And he's the lawyer.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
That's
like,
befuddled. That is befuddled. That is the most
What a
befuddled.
stupid fuck. I can't believe it. I just like, and it's funny because I'm watching all the convoy like organizers, some of which I know go, way to go, Brendan. I'm like, are you watching the same shit I'm watching? Guys like, is this policy to just enact police forces from around the province? Is this in writing somewhere? Yeah. Look, guys like, well, it's the law, so I imagine it is. Yeah, bud. Like,
leave it there for a second. This is like when you watch a TV show and it screeches to a halt, and you go to
like,
the mayor's. You go to the no. You go to the mayor's thoughts right now. He's like, am I hearing this guy right? Like, look at his face. He's so shocked that this guy's a lawyer.
I ran this by a lawyer friend of mine, and he's like, I've never seen anybody that incompetent in my entire fucking life. And a reputation is the only thing lawyers are told they have to protect. This guy didn't bother, though. We're only halfway through it. He keeps asking if it's a law, and he's like, I keep fucking repeating myself, dingbat.
I understand that, but there's nothing
No, you
that
don't.
I know of, at least, and if you could point me to it, that says that you were prevented from either calling Commissioner Leckie or calling the commissioner of the OPP and saying, hey, we need some more resources. Can you do this?
Again, I think that would be entirely inappropriate, to give the powers of operational responsibilities to politicians is a
I'm
very
not saying that,
slippery
sir.
slope.
I'm asking you if there's an actual policy that says you are not allowed to call and make a request to the police? Is there a policy in that regard?
Well, our city solicitor advised that the route that we should be taking is the letter to the Premier and the Prime Minister and the two appropriate
Okay, so it wasn't a
ministers.
protocol. It was what the city solicitor told you to do.
Well, I'm assuming that he would have told me what to do based on the law of the land.
It's so good. It's so good. He just doesn't understand what police service boards are, why they are there, what they're for. Like nothing. He has no idea. Like, what kind of lawyer is he? Do we know?
So is this law? Is it written down somewhere? Yeah, everywhere. So,
Okay,
but like, is it a policy or a law? Well, it's a law. So who told you to do it? Well, the Solicitor General. Well, why would they tell you that? Well, because it's the law. Well, where is it written? In a book? Like all of them, all the law books.
In all the law books, all of them. Yeah.
Okay, this does kind of give me a little bit of like, okay, like it gives me some relief seeing this guy question Jim
How
Watson.
useless Brendan Miller is from Freedom Corps. And here's the thing. I go back to this all the time. No one has an answer for me. What is he grilling this guy on that's so bad if his people didn't do anything wrong?
He's trying to paint him as incompetent, saying, "Well, why wouldn't you have called for more help?" Why? No, he's saying to Jim Watson, "Why didn't you call for help? Why didn't you call the OPP yourself? If you thought it was such a bad idea, which you obviously didn't because you didn't call the OPP, which he legally can't do." So he's trying to paint him into a corner, and he's doing a very horrible job at it.
Okay, can I ask why? Okay, this might be a dumb question, but why is he there?
He's a cheap lawyer. Like, Freedom
Well,
Corp. I mean, you've
so
got a bunch of
so
trailer
he's
people
your-
with a couple $1 million worth of donated money going, let's hire some lawyers. And they're like, he works for the JCCF. He's buddies with Keith Wilson. And so
Okay.
they send him up there and he's like, I don't know. And what the thing that kills me, and I've watched very little of it over the past couple of days.
I have the
Every
answer
time
for
he's
you.
on, I'm like, and people are like, oh, the Freedom Corps lawyer is on. This ought to be fun. I'm like, fuck, let's turn it on. I can't. This guy is must see TV because what he does is he does what you just saw there, where he gets everything wrong. Like the first time I saw him, he got everything wrong with Zach Seeley. Everything. Were you born here? No. Were you born there? No. Do you do this for a job? No. Okay. And then he would flip through literally a Grandin Toys sort of dollar store notepad.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, and you go, okay. So where is this written down? Jim Watson's like, in books. Like, yeah, but is it a law? He goes, yeah, it's a law. Yeah, but who told you
Check
to do
my
it?
notebook
This person.
here.
Where did she find that out? Books, like law. That's how it works. Dumb fuck. Like it's almost unbelievable. It's almost as if the Freedom people are like, yeah, listen, we know we're gonna lose. Just go put on a fucking fun show for us. And he's like, whatever, man. I'm a shitty lawyer. I can do a shitty job like everybody else.
I think the question, Marianne, that you asked is why is he there? Like, who is he representing? He's representing this grassroots, good old fashioned protest. Just a bunch of small little guys decided to form an actual corporation of protesters and make a business out of it and incorporate it to try and shield themselves because, but they're just regular old Canadians, just concerned about freedom.
Okay.
They're not.
Because that's what everybody does when they go protest at Queen's Park. They form corporations and hire lawyers, right? So that's who he is, and they did a very bad job at picking.
Oh, the worst.
Thank you for answering that because I'm like, why is this guy here?
That's why he's there. Because the good old fashioned grassroots protest is an incorporation with lawyers and press people and social media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You dumb fucks.
So do we think that it's going to, it's very early on, but do we think that it's going to prove that the Emergencies Act was necessary?
100%.
Is that what is okay? Thank you.
Oh yeah, it already has.
What I'm interested in, like, I don't even give a fuck about that anymore. Now I'm interested in, like, when are we charging Doug Ford with treason? At what point do we do that? At what point do we charge Doug Ford with treason against an entire country, not just the people of Ottawa? Like, he fucking fanned the flames by pretending to not care, and it's not up to me. And we're watching him get undressed in
non-confidence is what we need.
We need a non-confidence vote for that fuck that is sitting in the Premier's office, who has designs for the Prime Minister's office, because that is not leadership. That is an abdication of responsibility. That is supreme dereliction of duty. Dude put his hand on a Bible he says he believes, swore an oath to the province, swore an oath to the people in this province to protect them, keep them safe, and he looked the other way purposely, lied purposely, or the people around him did, and he's just a fucking pawn. Maybe it's Corey Teneyck. I don't know. Maybe it's the federal Liberals. I don't know. But I do know this, is that today he got fucked. and he should have got fucked because that cat is as complicit as it gets. It's in fucking emails from the prime minister and the mayor of the city of Ottawa who lived through it, for fuck's sakes. Like, you don't need anything
those
else.
meetings and those meetings that he's talking about, like that Zoom meeting or phone call that he can't recall. They have a secretary and there's minutes that are taken at those meetings. So those are in actual official city documentation. They're documented in record. Those meetings, you can't go back on that. Like you can't say, well, you're lying.
Private emails between the prime minister and the mayor. Those are private fucking emails, private readouts of conversations, legitimately. And I want to know this: how much of Doug's reticence has to do with his dumpy daughter being involved in this for all 3 weeks?
Yep.
Like, how much of this is him trying to protect his family over protecting the citizens of this province? You want to fuck another conflict of interest for a non-confidence vote? How about this fucking pile? How about this young lady? Huh? How about that? That's enough. Fuck. Are we serious right now?
Yeah.
Like, we're watching this happen in real time. You got a premier of this province who hates the people in it. Hates you. He hates Ottawa. He hates people in hospitals. He's killing the fucking healthcare system. He allowed for this to happen because he doesn't give a fuck about human life, even though he says he does. I've yet to find a receipt that says he does, other than old wives' tales and stories I hear from people about how great he is if you reach him on his phone. That's nice.
Handing out 20s at the park.
Yeah, every front-facing piece of information we have says he's a fucking convoy planner. Like that. Seriously. That's, I mean, these are the receipts that we have. This is what we're looking at. Fucking wild, isn't it?
Action by inaction is what it was, and it was effective. That's why they were allowed to go on for 3 weeks.
He'd eat this for sure. Pumpkin spice bologna,
guaranteed. Oh, I know. For sure.
I found the blender.
I found your bags, by the way.
Oh, all right. Oh, these are the Glad Hefty
pumpkin
spice ultra stuff.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't
didn't know
lying
those
about
existed.
that.
Yeah, you were
wasn't
lying
lying
about
about
that. Part of this too is you're talking about the angry young man. I came across this thing today, and I wanted to put it by you guys because we're seeing a lot of different dating services verge into cultural dating service. You got a liberal dating services now. You got the conservative dating. So you got the Jesus dating service. You got the Our Time dating service. Then you got Hinge and Tinder, where it's like, hey, let's just fuck. Let's just have a good time. Let's feel dangerous. Let's get weird. Let's meet at a Starbucks and go into my car and see what happens. You've got those services too.
Where's the jizz? Sorry.
Where's the jizz? Where is it?
That's the name of the app.
Yeah. But I read this today. This is a psychologist in the United States. She's also a sex activist and researcher. She says men aren't having enough sex. Totally agree. Nearly a third of men under 30 have not had sex, and a higher percent do not have as much sex as they like. Of course, not exactly surprising. This kind of statistic is a sign of a much deeper problem. Young men driving the decline in sex. 28% of men under the age of 30 say they have not had sex. 18% of women under the age of 20 say the same thing. This is from 2019. But I found this woman who does a great job apparently breaking this stuff down. Her name's Alexandra Hunt. She's a public health activist, grassroots organizer, also a soccer coach. That's nice, isn't it? But then she goes on to say this about angry young men. Our society criminalizes sex and sweeps it under the rug. The consequences are straightforward. There's more violence. It's platforms like Craigslist were banned from advertising sex. Serious violent crimes against all women, not just sex workers, has increased. And men who do not have sex suffer. They are less likely to be part of the labor force and more likely to experience depression, nihilism, and other mental health issues. The Me Too movement accomplished so much, and we have to take the next step, normalizing having a healthy, positive, consensual sex, decriminalizing sex work, funding sex education, creating outreach programs to help young people develop healthy sexual habits. We should be moving towards a right to sex. People should be able to have sex when they feel they want to, and we need to develop services that meet people's needs without attaching the baggage or shame of criminalization. So let's talk about sex. Is anybody else confused by that? Anybody?
A little bit
confused. Anybody else confused by that?
The right to sex thing kind of makes the ear funny.
Say the right to sex thing again.
But at the end of it, this is what she said. She's like, we should be moving towards a right to sex. People having a right to have sex with you.
They can have sex when they feel they want to.
Yeah.
And develop services around that. I guess that's what she means about normalizing and decriminalizing sex work. So I'm in favor of that
Mm-hmm.
idea, but I don't think it would necessarily be somebody's, like, what are we going to pay for it? Like, it's going to be social,
That's what she's saying.
like OHIP, like you get a
she's
card.
saying OHIP needs to give people hookers. That's what she's saying.
You can buy insurance.
Well, I just found it interesting because yesterday we were talking about the small penis syndrome and how so many
Yeah.
guys in this country are angry because they have small dingers. And then I read that and I'm like, well, that's also part of it. Like, do you think that this is just, and I'm asking you this, Marianne, because you're a female specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Are you noticing most of the angry guys are guys that have those sexual hangups? Are you noticing most of that? Some of it? Do you see any of that?
you do like to talk about this small penis syndrome quite a bit. You really
Yeah.
like this this theory.
It's a good one.
What's the best way to connect the dots here? I would say I think you kind of have a point. I think that your theory is partially true. I think there are other factors as well that go into it. What am I trying to say here?
Then I'm right.
You're partially right. I think you're partially right.
How much? If it's 100% of the problem with these, if an angry young
75.
man, 75% of his problem is sexual.
I think 75% because I think because I have seen men without small ones who are angry and confused, and so yeah, I don't think your theory is absolutely right on that.
Well, no, not on the small dingers. I just do that to troll guys.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not get in the way of the bit. Okay. It's all about the bit.
Hold
Don't
the rope
fuck with
and keep up with the
So are you
class,
trying? Are you
goddammit.
trying? Okay. But I will say that men with
Big
Larger
wieners.
penises.
yeah, generally more confident, overall more happy. I think. If I look, I have to I think I have to do kind of I have to go back in the library for a second and think about that. But
Bank. You got to go back in the bank and it's been
just a
while.
couple.
I gotta figure out, yeah.
Back in the hallways of the Schlong Library.
But let's twist that for a second. I've also met men.
Let me dust
who are-
off the Schlong book. Let's have a look here.
Do you have a Dewey Decimal System you can go back to?
But if you look back
But
at
I've al-
people you've been with that have been the angriest or the most unreasonable, have they had sexual hangups? Not just small dingers, but like anxiety around what's going on in that act.
Okay, I will say yes. I will say that the most remember the Jordan Peterson guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of pushing Jordan Peterson on me. That was an anxiety thing. That's what that was. So I will confirm that. But at the other side of things, I met guys with bigger ones too that are total idiots or complete fucking morons. So yeah, I think that your theory is not based in science. I don't think you're right. I will say that you are partially right and not. It's a little awkward.
I
when you
believe
talk
I'm
about-
partially right. Like a little bit, right?
But I do have a theory.
little right.
But I do have a theory on men having less sex. I will say
Yes.
that.
Okay, tell me.
I think that men. I think women. Not that. I think that we are discovering ourselves more. We know what we deserve. We're going to therapy. We're figuring stuff out. We're figuring out what are our needs. And men haven't caught up to that. Not as many men have decided to look at themselves and say, what am I doing wrong? How can I be a better human? How can I be a better person? How can I treat women in heterosexual relationships? How can I treat women better? How can I, I think that's a big part of the problem is women we're allowed to do more than I think we're smartening up about what we deserve, and we're figuring out
getting angry about it.
And you're getting angry about it because I don't want to speak for all men, but a lot of men aren't doing the work. A lot of men aren't figuring it out.
No.
And I've seen a lot of people in relationships, and I've been in relationships that was completely treated like garbage. And I'm having a really hard, personally, I'm having a really hard time even thinking about, because I love. The longer I'm single or the longer that I live alone, the more I'm I love myself and I love being I love my space. So it's going to take someone really special or take someone that truly understands me for me to share any kind of space or heart space at that. But yeah.
I wonder if it's like a pandemic specific thing too, because I laugh at guys like I see so many angry dudes running around like the MGTOW movement or the incel movement, which is legitimately a fucking cultural problem.
Okay, we've talked
right?
about this before too. On these dating apps, there's now options for vaccinations, right? Like, are you vaccinated? So yes, that's a big part of it. If a guy I'm not on dating apps right now, but like I was in the past, and if I saw a guy that was like conservative, I'd be like, no chance. Like if you are like bold enough to be like, I'm conservative on this dating app, then like I don't or I've straight up asked guys like on dates, I'm like, what'd you think of the Convoy? Like I've actually asked that before, right? So
it's not a bad litmus test though. Like really, it's not.
I'm like, are you vaccinated? Did you support the Convoy? Like those are, it's almost like these are added, but I think it also speaks for their values. It speaks for, are we on the same page? Because if you do believe in those things, we aren't going to be together. We aren't going to like get
part of me wonders how we operated prior to the pandemic, not knowing these things about people to begin with, right? Like how many relationships ended because like a year into it, someone's like, I had no idea he was a Nazi. Or like halfway, it's like, I have a theory on believe in vaccines, like that kind of shit. Like it makes because it's so important to people. There's like fucking dating services. There's like entire dating services, like the Right Stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen the Right Stuff. It's this dating service for like super conservatives, and it's run by Kayleigh McEnany's sister. Her name's Ryan, and it literally is just about dating conservatives, and it's not about anything else. I've got the video here for you. Like this is, and I'm like, oh, I get this. This is more about collecting data than anything else because it's a Peter Thiel funded deal. But like, I also watched an investigative report on it already that the Washington Post did, where one guy, same guy, 90 different profiles, same picture, different name, different likes, but it was the same people. It's all bots. It's exactly what it is. It's a farming tool. Yeah, that's all it is. But it like I kind of understand this from a cultural perspective, because if you go on Hinge or Tinder or whatever the dating apps are that you're on, and like the number one thing you want to know about that person that you're talking to isn't cup size, wiener size, sexual appetite. Do you like movies? What kind of movies do you like? Where are you from?
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, pineapple on pizza.
That comes
pumpkin spice bologna.
Pumpkin spice bologna. Are you a pumpkin spice guy? Are you a toque wearer? All that stuff. None of it matters anymore to people. It's like the only thing that people give a fuck is like, so are you vaccinated? Because if you are or aren't, that'll tell me everything I need to know about the kind of person that I'm dealing with here. Do you know what I mean?
And that's kind of that's where I'm you asked a question, what did we do before this? And I think we've gotten it's such a weird place where this, well, it's where it's how we, like before you used to, you could lean either way. You'd be like, you were conservative, but if you met the right person, they might be able to change your mind a bit on a few things just by being with them because you love them.
Or you were okay with it. Like you were like,
or you were able to,
no big deal. I'm a liberal, not a big, but now
it's like black and white. And this is like the Hatfields and the McCoys out there. And if you're not with the Hatfields, you're not with the Hatfields, and you're with the McCoys, and I won't fuck you. And that's exactly where we are right now.
Yeah, it almost defines values. That's what I like what you're saying. Like that's what you're saying, right?
I agree,
it almost defines your values a little bit. And I would say that like the vaccination thing, I think the Convoy thing, I think one thing is like, how do you talk about women? What do
you sniff bike seats, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. How many bike seats you got?
Yeah. Are you a watcher?
You take a picture of that bike seat, would you?
Are you a voyeur? It's like, I don't want to know if you have a criminal record or if you're nice to animals. I just want to know if you're vaccinated or if you support Pierre Poilievre, because that'll tell me everything I need to know.
This happened. Okay. This
herpes, chlamydia, whatever. Smoker, no big deal. Alcohol,
you punched.
Fine. Are you conservative? Who'd you vote for?
You punched a child. Why'd you punch a child? Well, his mom was an anti-vaxxer. Oh, all right. I guess that's fine.
Sorry, Marianne. You were going to say
I was going to say men suck, and that's it. Yeah.
Oh, we do. Yeah, totally. Do you want to see a commercial for the Right Stuff?
Oh, yes, please. Oh, please. Yes. Is this real or a parody?
Well, they say it's real, and then we'll get to some of the reviews of it after. But this isn't. No, it's not real. There's no way this fucking thing's real. But this is a conservative dating app in the United States. It's now here in Canada, where you can. It's just for conservatives. It's just for religious, hard-leaning losers who believe in Jesus and the Sky Daddy and Satan and all that other stuff. But let's watch it together and see the quality of these babes.
Today, we brought in a group of conservative young women and wanted to get their honest opinions about what they're looking for in the guys they date.
Oh. That's good.
What are you looking for in a partner?
They just have to be a conservative.
Definitely someone that wants to have kids.
I like an independent man.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the alpha male vibe.
I want a man who really loves his family.
Definitely someone whose faith is important to them.
For me, it's someone who actually wants to meet my parents.
Why do you want to date a conservative?
For me, at least I know that we're going to start off with some shared values.
Well, the conservative men I've dated at least know how to treat me like a woman.
Yeah. Right.
In my personal experience, conservative guys have better manners.
I like that they understand their role in the relationship as a man.
I just prefer my men to be masculine.
This is real.
What's the biggest red
Yeah,
flag
this is real.
when it comes to dating?
A Democrat.
No Democrats.
A Democrat.
Can't be a Democrat.
A Democrat.
That's easy. A Democrat.
No Democrats. It's a no.
Find the right match. Download the right stuff today.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Looks like one of them ate a couple chocolate covered Democrats, actually.
Stop. No, I'm not letting you go there.
Not saying which one.
I'm not letting you. I am not.
That's a
letting
lot
you
of
indulge in that.
right stuff.
You are not allowed.
There are a couple there where they're
No,
like, "What are you looking
no,
for in a guy?" And I
bad.
expected to hear the word chips,
Bad.
but didn't hear
Bad. Bad.
Looking for cream-filled, all-dressed, chocolate
No.
drizzled
Someone who comes
conservative.
over
I am
with
not.
Timbit.
I am not contributing in body shaming. I am not contributing to
shaming
this.
anybody. I'm saying there's a couple. I'm not saying which ones. Doesn't
No.
matter. But all I'm saying is, if those are real women on that app, it's a tough go for the fellas. And it sounds like it from the reviews too. This is one of them. I was left on invite. I was excited to try out this new app. Love the concept of it, even the throwback of adding music to your profile like MySpace. However, once completing the profile, I'm stuck on invite mode. It's unclear how to access the app. If you don't know anyone using it, it seems like those who want to use this for the right reasons aren't able to gain access. Pretty disappointed. I'm going back to Hinge. Tough one. This guy's like, I saw this app. This is the best. I saw this app advertised on one of my trusted conservative news channels. My wife passed away 2 days ago, and I think I've mourned long enough.
That's not.
My wife passed away 2 days ago, and I think I've mourned long enough. She would want me to be happy and get back out there on the dating 48 hours later. So when I saw this right stuff that was about dating stuff, I jumped on it. Much to my disappointment, when I signed up, I realized it's only. How am I supposed to marry the woman of my dreams? Preferably, she has a great life insurance plan. What? This app is actually funded by Bill Gates. What happens is they take your photo and information. I suggest you delete this app now. Never use it. My wife died 2 days ago. She'd want me to move on.
She was all about my happiness.
That's such a plot twist. It's a plot twist.
Oh my God, that was good.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. She wants me to be happy, but
she wants me to move
looks
on.
like it's only bots on here. What's going
I've
on?
only got 30 days left on her cell phone plan before they cut it off. So somebody hit me up.
I'm just looking for someone with a great life insurance plan. That's it. Why won't these things work?
Did he murder her?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Did he kill her?
I don't know.
Come help me enjoy my new garden bed in the backyard.
It's been 2 days.
It's been 2 days. Gotta get it in. I mean, she'd want me to live.
Yeah. She would. Cletus.
How you doing?
Oh,
Good. She's only been 2 days in. Record on this app, though. My wife would really want me to get it sucked at some point.
Who's
and,
down to fuck?
For her.
I got free clothes for you if you want some clothes.
Yeah, I got a place for you to live. It's cheap. And you can help yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever she left behind.
Yeah, some food here is not expired yet. It's like another bonus that she
literally
loves.
just
I have some pumpkin spice bologna that she just
Her car's still insured. You can have that
Yep.
too.
Yeah, 30 days. They're not going to repo it for another 3 months. That's yours if you come over here and let me put it in. Come on by.
Let's
Hit
get
me
it
up.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done mourning. It's been it's been a whole
This
2
morning
days.
stuff is so depressing.
That was a good laugh. Anyway, there you go, fellas.
Anyway.
If you got if you're angry, go get, this. Here's the thing.
Oh, what?
If you're an angry young man, don't go on that app. You'll just get angrier. That's just the way it goes. Go get some help. Go figure it out. Deal with your sexual hangups. Deal with your small dingers. Guys, we've had enough of the anger. We're dealing with the convoy now. That's all it was. It was like 8,000 guys with small peckers and chicks who had like no action in years. Like you saw the quality of individual there too. Whew.
I'm in pain.
Yeah. I don't
If
disagree.
you're angry, just go toss
I'm
one
gonna throw
off.
up.
You'll feel better.
Might throw
Let's-
up.
I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I want to show everybody a picture of a kid who isn't, everybody here who has kids. You got kids, right? Your kid's
Yeah.
pretty talented. Your
I don't
kid's
have one. You guys.
Well,
have
you don't
kids.
have it. I got 3 of them, right?
You have many.
3. I don't have many. It's not
Many.
like, like a fucking tribe of children here.
Stable.
Many children at that house. What a daycare.
It's an
I
orphanage.
saw this morning, and the first thing I thought,
Conservative
I'm
dead
like,
women.
As soon as I saw this morning, I thought, what's wrong with my kids? As soon as I saw this video, it's a 5-year-old just banging away at Mozart. You got to hear it. You got to see it. But when you watch it, I want you to think about your 5-year-old or your kids when they were 5 and go, my kid's got something wrong.
All right.
5. He can't even reach the pedals.
That's what I was just going to say. He sucks. Not even using the pedals.
No, I just meant like he's not even on
His
that
back. He's 5. He's probably still wearing underoos. This is the stage when
Beautiful.
everybody in the
What a-
audience that I know it's so fucking incredible. Like I had to play it, but
Beautiful.
this is the part where every parent in the audience is like,
Cocky
something
little
wrong, something wrong with my kid.
stupid hair. Screw that kid.
I think my kid has some kind of disabilities that I need to look at. This kid is unbelievable.
Mom issues. Ready.
Like, how do you compete with that if your kid's in that room? You're fucked. Like, whoever goes next. If it was my kid, I'd be like, we're leaving. You can't go in there next after this kid. He's fucking Beethoven in like a 5-year-old's body. You can't.
I can listen to this all day.
Yeah, but I'm not even like concerned. I'm just about comparing how dumb other kids are compared to this kid.
Look at this smug little bastard's face.
What a
loser. Jackass.
Look at him pimping it too. He's like, I know I'm better than every other 5-year-old in this joint, and I am going to play for an hour.
I'm waiting for him to take
every
his
other
juice
kid
box.
feel like there's something wrong with him.
Mom, where's my juice box?
Yeah. Like, I don't even know how you teach. I think it's just one of those things that where someone just walks up to something and they're just like a savant. Like they're just unbelievable at it.
It's
Look
like
at that kid. His parents put a bow tie on him just to make him look like a super dork. Not what you do to that kid. You get him
picked
dressed
that
up in
bow
a nice, something kind of real pimp, and you put him behind the thing, and you're like, listen, you are better than everybody else here. And,
I wish he was
there's
wearing
no two ways about
sunglasses.
it.
Just wear some black shade out like sunglasses.
Yeah.
Way to end the show, asshole. Make me feel
Oh,
like
you're welcome.
nothing. Yeah, thanks a lot.
My kids aren't that good at anything.
No.
Your kids
No.
are great.
My kids are awesome
They are
people.
great.
That's
Mhm.
all that matters. But like, if you said to me, "Do your kids have any like special talents?" I'd be like, "No."
Bullshit.
That's, dude, not like this.
Well, not like that.
This is like
that's
like, this
extraordinary.
Dude, yeah, it's like taking your kid somewhere and I used to take my kids to piano lessons all the time. You go to see the recital, I fucking hated them because every time you went there, every kid's like bang, boom, bop, beep, bop, boom, including my kid. And then invariably, there was always one kid that was either their age or a little younger than them that would get up and just do this incredible routine where you're like, and I'd be like, what are we even doing here? I would say to my ex-wife, and she'd be like, it's not about that. I'm like, it's kind of all about that, actually. Like, what are we paying people for? Where our kid gets up there, he's like, and then like the next kid gets up and he's this kid. Like, what are we doing?
He probably he'll shit his pants till he's like 25, though. I bet there's something wrong.
No, but like, tell me that's
gonna
not
make
part
me
of
feel
this
better.
conversation. Like, how many parents have drilled like 20 grand into their kids' like piano recital lessons, and they go there, and this kid lights it up, and they're like, what a fucking waste of money.
Waste of money.
Ours can't get through Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and look what this little jackass is doing. Exactly. No, I see what you mean. You're kind of, you're right. This would put a lot of question in a lot of doubt into your mind, I think, as a parent.
Yeah.
I think this is a parenting issue for sure.
My kid, this is probably a parenting issue.
It's a parenting issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kid's going to have arthritis when he's 11.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Anyway, congratulations.
Play us out, kid. Play us out.
All right, that's it for us. Have a great day. That's Marianne Iveson. At MA on the air is where you can find her. Follow her on Twitter. She's the host of the Let's Take This Outside podcast. Go and subscribe, download anywhere you get your fine podcasts. Google, Apple, Spotify, etc. That's my friend Ryan Lindley. As this kid who's better than yours takes us out.
Stupid haircut.
No, that's a cool haircut. He can do whatever he wants for the rest of his life. This kid's going to be hopefully better than Ashley McIsaac, but that kind of savant kind of thing.
Au revoir.
Yeah. That is Ryan Lindley, host of the Lynn's Report. Anywhere you get your fine podcast, Lynn's Report. Download it, Google, Apple, Spotify, etc. Also the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. Give him a follow on Twitter. I'm Dean. That's it for us. Thanks, MA.
Bye, guys.
Good to see you, Marianne Iveson. Thanks, Ryan.
Take it easy. I was just kidding. This kid's great.
Yeah, he's better than everybody. He's better than everyone's kid.
I'm jealous of him.
Me too. Good to see you. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan Lindley, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for us. Let you finish up with this 5-year-old kid that is guaranteed better than yours. Let's turn it up. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. If you're looking for financing for a vehicle, can't find it, credit, no credit, bad credit, good credit, easyautofinancial.ca. They got you covered. No obligation either. And they will get your financing for free. Who doesn't want free financing? And who doesn't want a turnkey car buying experience? That's what they do at easyautofinancial.ca. Check them out today. Kivlaw.ca. Defense attorneys, it'll get you out of trouble. Like this kid will be in when he's like 19. He's unstoppable because someone gives him like $20 million for a record deal. And he goes full Justin Bieber, but like 16-year-old Justin Bieber. He'd need Rob Kivlikin. Kivlaw.ca. Defense lawyers who care about you and want to get you out of trouble. Go to kivlaw.ca for more details today. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Defense lawyers that help you get your freedom, maintain that freedom as well. Here we go again. It's so lovely. I don't see why we don't. This is lovely. I'm going to end every show with this kid. And as well, don't forget about Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch. Powered by Ed, his underwear, online store. Massive selection of underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. You can't miss it. You will love it when you put things on your body. They're made for Canadian men, so they got larger than average packages. So if you're one of those angry dudes with a little dinger, you can't afford these. You won't be able to fill these things out. But if you're a happy person, a dude with just a regular size junk, I mean, this is your stuff. Getch3 is your promo code. He'll send you a free pair. Order today at edsfineimports.com. No, this isn't. Someone's like, this is going to be Rookie's kid. No, guaranteed it won't be. Guaranteed it won't be. Anyway, have a great day. I know the guy. He's not having a kid like that. He's going to have a kid that bumps into stuff. Like mine, like I'm a kid that bumps into stuff too. So is Ryan. We're all those kids that bumped into stuff. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.